All right, everybody, what's going on? It's your brother Assad,
This is Adrienne.
and we are back again with a quick video coming from an undisclosed location. Nah, we are in Houston, Texas, in a hotel room,
Yep.
so the lighting is not
Yeah.
that great, but hey, it's all good. But we're taking a quick weekend trip to see Adrian's parents in San Antonio, Texas, but took a quick stop in Houston to stop at the Cafe Abuja and get us some good jollof and oxtails. But
Mm-hmm.
so this will be a quick video, and we wanted to talk. So a lot of times we have been asked, man, how y'all keep spending money going to Africa? Y'all going this time and that time, and where y'all get all this money from? Because everybody know we broke, right? Everyone knows we don't have any money. Black people don't have any money, and these black people in particular don't have any money. So how do we manage to afford to go to South Africa? Several times a year. At least we've been several times this year. So the the answer is we plan on a budget. So that's what we want to talk
Yep.
about today. How can we, and then by default, maybe you, if you're thinking of going to South Africa, how can you do it for a relatively inexpensive amount of money? And good
Yeah. Relative.
relatively, because inexpensive is relative to everyone, right?
Right.
What's inexpensive for me may not be inexpensive for someone else, and what's inexpensive for someone else most likely is very expensive for me,
Right.
right? Most likely is very expensive. So, but there are some tips and tricks you can use to maybe make it more affordable. Can we say it
Yeah.
like that?
Mm-hmm.
More affordable.
Right.
All right. So the first tip and trick we use is we watch plane ticket prices.
Yeah.
There are several apps that are out there that are just wonderful tools. Like what is it, Manando?
Momondo.
Mamando,
That's one of my faves.
Mamando, and then there's
Yeah.
Kayak,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
there's a few other apps.
The one that you used to use,
Sky Scanner,
Skyscanner, is good.
Sky Scanner, right?
Yeah.
But these apps, most of them are pretty much set up the same way, and they will show you if you just scroll through the calendar, they will highlight days in like green, which are like days that are pretty cheap. One
Right.
good thing that you can do is just Google cheapest time to travel to South Africa, and I think the answer was February,
Yeah. The off season,
the
as
off season,
always.
right?
When everyone else stopped traveling, that's when you start.
And that's
Except we're not doing that this
no, we're
time.
going at,
We're
at the
during the
absolutely most
height of
expensive
travel
time
season.
to travel, but we went in February of
That's
2021
true.
because it was one of the
Great
most reasonable times to travel. And so what I did was I kind of did a little Google search or price search
deal.
for February, right?
Yeah.
February 2022. So I found a flight ticket for one person. So these prices that we're going to name kind of be like for a single person. And some of them will kind of cover two people. Some of the items we're going to cover will cover two people, but the flight ticket obviously is per individual.
Yeah.
But I think it was February 7th through the 14th, so a 7 day trip for is that 7 days? It's a week long trip, right?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
7 days. Got confused for a minute.
That's
So
quick though for South Africa, but anyway.
well, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do, how long you're trying to stay. But if you're
Yeah.
trying to do 7 days or whatever have you, there was a ticket from in February 7th through the 14th for $881. Now that's a pretty reasonable ticket all the way to South
It was
Africa.
from New Orleans.
It was from New Orleans, so
Yeah. So that
yeah,
mean, if you're in New York, you're
it,
probably way cheaper than that,
that's true. I
or
didn't
in
even think about
Atlanta
that.
where they
Yeah,
have the
we have direct flights
direct
from
flights.
from
Yeah.
Delta. So thank you for pointing that out. This is from New
Yes.
Orleans, where it is going to be a little more expensive. Even if you're coming from here, Houston, which is a bigger airport, you
It'd be a
probably
little
get it cheaper.
cheaper from
Yeah,
Houston. Yeah.
cheaper from like DC,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Boston, New York, or New
Yeah.
Jersey. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. So this is from New Orleans. So that 881 might might even be a little cheaper than that by probably $100, maybe
Mm-hmm.
$150.
Mm-hmm.
So Now that you have your flight, right? That's a round trip ticket. Let's just say $800 for the
Yeah.
sake of argument or whatever have you. Um, then you want to know a place to stay. Now,
Right.
where do we usually stay?
In Rosebank.
In Rosebank,
In an Airbnb.
in an Airbnb. We are actually Airbnb owners, so shout out to Airbnb. And we prefer Rosebank. Why? Because where we stay is literally attached to the mall. The mall. You walk out of the door and there is a Starbucks
Yeah.
across the street, and then there's a mall with it's kind of like the Galleria here in
Yeah.
Houston,
Kind of
right?
indoor outdoor.
Kind of indoor outdoor. There's
Live, work, play.
it's literally everything in the Rosebank Mall. Now, South Africa is known, or Johannesburg is known for its malls. It literally has a gang of malls. There's like Melrose Mall. There's the Santon City.
Yeah, it's quite
There's
a few.
the Mall of
Just a
Africa.
lot of them.
There's a gang of malls. However, we usually stay in Rosebank. Now, um, so Rosebank is the mall itself. Again, restaurants are there. Obviously, it's going to be shopping. There's also like a workout facility that you can pay for by the day. There is
Grocery store.
a grocery store, and we're going to get to that in a second. And also, the hop on and hop off is near there. The How
Yeah.
train is near there. So everything that you kind of need
Yeah.
is right there in Rosebank.
Where we get our COVID tests.
COVID test
Right, walking distance right
around the corner. Around the corner,
So
because you're gonna need.
yeah.
Because in the age of COVID, you need your COVID test to get back on the plane to go home, right? So I found an Airbnb, and this is not for this is in February again. An Airbnb for 7 days for about $444,
Mhm.
right? About $444 for the 7 day stay. So $800 plane ticket, $400 on living expense, or living or hotel Airbnb stay, for a grand total of about 1,200, maybe $1,300, depending on taxes and fees or whatever have you. So for about $1,300 now, you have gotten to Johannesburg and you have a place to stay. That's the big stuff.
Right.
That's the big stuff, right? Um, what else? It was something else I wanted to talk about with Rose. Oh, the prices. So the reason why we say Rosebank is because they're much more expensive, like Airbnbs that you can pay for
And
them.
hotels.
And hotels, yeah, regular hotels. You can pay $200-$300 a night. They have a Four Seasons in Joburg. Yeah,
so you can do it.
If
up.
you a baller, go ahead and ball.
Right.
Ball
This
out.
is not for you.
Yeah, this
You said budget travel.
This
so
for the
you're a
broke
baller,
people
go
like
ahead,
us.
skip
This is for the broke folk. This is for the broke people, right? So there are much more expensive places that you can stay. And conversely, there are much more cheaper places, like for like $20 a night or something like that. But we chose Rosebank because of where we stay in Rosebank. Get the Wi-Fi, again, the convenience of being right by the mall, all of the amenities that you need, as well as on the Airbnb you can kind of read the reviews. The places always have great reviews or whatever have you. So
And Joburg has some really high quality Airbnbs.
man,
I mean, we've done Airbnb in a few places on Earth, and
we did Airbnb in Paris. That's a whole nother story. I can tell you a story about an Airbnb in Paris with no AC and prostitutes outside.
For way more than what you're paying in Rosebank.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was shocked at the quality of Airbnbs for the price.
And
to
then
pay $40 or $50 a night and get something that is really nice.
I want to know who decorates these Airbnbs, because every Airbnb we have stayed in Joburg,
it's like professionally decorated.
Like, who came in and decorated this Airbnb? Did y'all pay somebody for this? I
think they do.
I mean, it has to be.
Staging, they all have professional photos.
Color scheme matches, all kinds. It is just phenomenal. You walk in and just be embarrassed about your own house. Like, man, my house don't look this nice.
My Airbnb don't.
My Airbnb don't look this nice. But yeah, all right. So we're at about $1,200. So that stays $1,300 and all. So now that you're in Joburg for about $1,300. You have a place to stay. You've flown
Mm-hmm,
in.
mm-hmm.
Now, here's how we make sure that we're not like just putting ourselves in a tremendous amount of debt while we are in Johannesburg. In Rosebank, there is a grocery store,
Yeah.
Woolworths,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and we'll go to Woolworths and we will buy the basics. Spend about $40-$50 on the basics: bread, eggs, milk, um, you know, sandwich meat or whatever have you,
Mm-hmm.
snacks, water,
Stuff you need.
stuff you need in the house, just enough to kind of cover you for a week, so that you're not at restaurants 2 and 3 times a day.
Right.
You're going to want to go out to eat in Johannesburg. So the way we do it is we kind of look at trying to go out to eat about once a day, as opposed to breakfast out, lunch out, and dinner out, because that can be expensive.
Add up.
That will add
Mm-hmm.
up really quick. So again, spend about $50, make some quick little groceries, whatever have you. That's make groceries. That's as you didn't catch that. See, they don't know what make groceries. Buy groceries, right? In New Orleans, we say make groceries, right? But buy some groceries and grocery items, and you can have that in your Airbnb, and to kind of sustain yourself. Plus, also, even at night, you may get a little hungry, want a little snack.
Yeah.
You bought you something, whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
So that will save you a lot of money on restaurants. However, in order to make sure that you are enjoying some of the wonderful food in South Africa, you need to go out to eat. And if you hold that down to about one meal a day at a restaurant for about $20 to $30, $20 to $30, you can eat well at Tasha's or at Proud
Mm-hmm.
Mary's
Yeah.
or what's another nice, well, it's very nice restaurants, right? For
Mm-hmm.
about a good $20 to $30. So if we take $30 high end for 6 days, that's $180,
Mm-hmm.
right? Round it up to two, and we spent 50 at Woolworths. Well, that's 250
Yeah.
plus 1,300.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Mm-hmm.
at 1,550, right? So now you've eaten, you arrived in Joburg, you have a place to stay, and your food is covered for about 1,550. Not too bad.
Not
That's not
bad.
too bad,
Mm-mm.
right? But you haven't done anything. You haven't gone anywhere. You haven't seen anything. Maybe the Rosebank Mall. So what is one thing that we do that is relatively inexpensive?
You can do the hop on, hop off. Yeah. So you can, they have several routes.
Mm-hmm.
The one that we've taken, if I can remember where all we went, it went by the Apartheid Museum,
Mm-hmm.
it went to Soweto, or maybe that was a different route.
That was
You
a
got
different
off
route,
on
right?
one and
Yeah,
then it would take you to Soweto. So
yeah,
it's an option.
yeah.
Where else? Constitution Hill, downtown Joburg. So you can really get a good sense of, where everything is and get some good sightseeing in with hop on, hop off. And
And
it's
the
inexpensive.
and the ticket is about $11.
Yeah.
So for about $11, you can get on the hop on, hop off, and get a bus tour of Johannesburg. I think the one we went on took us downtown, and it took us everywhere,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
A few
Rode
places
around
at
Zoo Lake, or the Joburg Zoo, that area,
that
and
area, right?
mm-hmm.
And since it will take you to the Apartheid Museum, you can hop off at the Apartheid Museum and go and check that out, which I highly recommend
Right.
to go. I mean, it is important history, and it's also important to, as again, I tell my wife, like when you go out of town to places, there's certain things that you must see. When you go to New York, you have to see the Statue of Liberty. You have to see not Madison Square, Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see Central Park. It's like things you have to do, because when you get back home, folks are going to ask you, well, did you see the Statue of Liberty? When you come to New Orleans, people are going to ask you, did you go to Bourbon Street? Right? So the Apartheid Museum is one of those things. So that's about $11.
Right.
I forget the cost of
I
admission
did too.
to the Apartheid
I
Museum.
don't think it was super expensive.
Yeah, I don't want to lie and make up a number, but it definitely
Yeah.
wasn't expensive. It was
Mm-mm.
pretty reasonable. All right,
Right.
so the hop on hop off $11. So now we're at about 1560, right?
Yeah.
1561. So what else?
Transportation, just in general.
So
Um,
that's the one that I kind of say is like variable,
yeah,
right?
because it depends on what you want to do,
It depends on
how you
what
want to get around.
right. There's basically there's two ways to do it. There's Uber and there's car rental,
Hmm.
right? I find, maybe you can correct me, I find that the Uber was a tad bit expensive, or it adds up because
Over time, yeah.
over time you Johannesburg is not small
Mm-mm.
at all. It's not small. So if you're taking an Uber somewhere for $15 and then 15 back, and then you kind of hanging at the your hotel or your Airbnb, and
You
then
want
you're
to go
leaving
somewhere
out
else.
and you're going back out $15 again and $15 back. That's $60. That's gonna add up quick,
Right.
right? So, but the other thing is renting a car, and I know that a lot of when a lot of people realize that that steering wheel is on the right side of the road and everything is kind of inverse to the way it is at the in the U.S. That may be intimidating.
Hmm.
Now, I would say for myself, 2019, we flew in from Cape Town, got off the plane, went to Avis, rented a car. I jumped in the car from the airport and drove all the way to Kruger, which was about I get 5 hours
Yeah.
or something like
To
that
go on safari.
to go on
Kruger National
safari.
Park. Hmm.
And we'll talk about safari shortly.
Yeah.
But to go to drive to Kruger to go on safari, and it took me probably about 20 to 30 minutes to reorient myself to driving that with on the right side of the car. But the general premise is the same: drive straight and don't hit. You know what I'm saying? Just don't hit anything. Drive straight, don't hit anything.
Straight.
Right. And after a while,
Go
I
as
got
slow as you need to go until you feel comfortable.
until you
Get
feel
out of the way.
comfortable. Right. The left lane is the slow lane.
Right.
The left lane is the slow lane. That right lane, that'll get you caught up. You know what I'm saying? But I drove, and then after about an hour, I was hitting the blanket. Man, I get around this car, and I oriented myself. So it'll take some. It will happen a little bit faster than you would imagine. I remember there's another YouTuber with the blonde hair guy,
Hmm.
and he rented a car in Johannesburg, and he was kind of confused for about 5 minutes. About 20 minutes later in the video, he was like, "Okay, I got this. It makes
Yeah.
sense." So it was pretty. It will happen a lot
Right.
sooner than you think. It may seem very intimidating, and people will act like it's so intimidating, but once you do it, good 20 minutes, maybe play around in the parking lot for a little
Hmm.
while. If you know how to drive in the U.S., you will figure out how to drive in South
Right.
Africa. So now that variable there, I didn't add into the kind of the cost here. So again, we're at about 1560. But depending on how much
Right.
whether you want to do an Uber or whether you
Hmm.
want to do car rental,
Yeah.
that's another variable. I think the car rental maybe about $300, something like that.
Yeah.
What do you
Depending
think?
on how many days
Depending on how many
that you
days you
rent it.
have.
It's
Yeah,
just, yeah, it just
depends on how many
depends on
days.
what kind of car you rent. So,
Right,
but yeah, Uber can add up if you're
right.
trying to go a couple of places. And that was also what was good about staying in Rosebank where we were staying, because we didn't need a car if we were going to be around there.
Oh,
So it's
definitely.
like I could walk everywhere I need to go,
I can
and
right.
so that saves you too.
That saves you a lot of
Saves you
money.
money too.
If you because if you want to again, if you want to go to a nice restaurant, Rosebank has nice restaurants that you can walk to. And when I say walk, I don't mean like you're about to walk 2, 3 blocks.
Right.
I literally mean you walk outside and Starbucks is there, and the mall is right there, and all
Right.
of the stuff you need
Hmm.
is in that mall. So now most people when they go to Africa, they think of animals.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they do want to see some animals. So if you want to do safari, there's ways to do safari also on a budget. Because we did safari on
On
a
a
budget.
budget.
On a
Yeah.
on a budget, a family of
People spend
four.
a lot of money on safari,
Thousands of
thousands and
dollars.
thousands of dollars on safari.
Yeah.
And I was at first I was like, I don't know if I'm doing safari because I'm not spending thousands of dollars for safari. So it's not that serious. But we found a cheaper way to do it.
So
So
you want to talk about the first way, the first cheap
we'll
way?
do the Kruger way first,
Okay, let's
right?
talk about the Kruger way.
Kruger National Park, huge, huge, huge. Very famous. We drove there, so we
Mm-hmm.
rented a car and we drove there ourselves. And instead of staying at one of the camps inside of Kruger, we stayed at a Marriott hotel that's at Kruger's gate.
Hmm.
It's the Protea, Marriott Protea. I think it's Kruger's Gate.
Whatever it is,
Um,
it was fire. Let's keep that 100. Let's keep it 1,000. This is not just some rinky dink hotel. This was like boom, it's a
It was
five-star
nice.
hotel.
It
It's a
was
nice
really nice.
hotel.
Yeah.
And you remember the outside food that
Yeah,
they
they had like a
served?
buffet in the evenings that was
Oh, that was
outdoor. They had
dope.
like the grilled meats and the food was delicious. The kids really enjoyed the food too.
Torches and fire and
Yeah,
stuff everywhere. I'm
it
talking
was
about an
nice.
experience.
It was nice.
White man asked me if I played for the NBA.
Like, why are you here?
He was like, I had some money or something because we on safari. He thought I had some money. You play for the NBA. I told him I was a gangster.
Let me see. Oh, and we got so we used Muzi Safari Tours.
Muzi, yep.
Muzi Safari Tours. A friend of ours recommended them, but
Hmm.
they picked us up in the morning, provided breakfast. No, the hotel actually provided breakfast, I think.
Hmm.
But provided breakfast. So we got up at probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they drove us around. And
Hmm.
their charge included the gate access to the park,
Uh-huh.
and then lunch, as well as like the drive the entire
Tired.
day.
Right, right.
And then they dropped us back off. And I think for all of us, for the entire family, it's been a couple of years now, but I know it was well under $500.
Yeah.
We might have paid maybe $300.
Okay. So that's the first cheap way. Now here's an even cheaper way. If you don't want to go all the way to Kruger, because that's a 5-hour drive, so that's
Hmm.
pretty far from Johannesburg.
Yeah. Oh, and
Uh,
we only spent 2 nights at the Marriott, and I
oh,
think the Marriott, since we were there at the off season,
mm,
it might have been about $120-$130 a night.
okay.
So not expensive at all.
And we got to see all of the big five. We saw
All
a lion. We
in
saw
one day.
buku lions, in fact. Zebra.
You name all five.
Is that the zebra? Zebra not a big five, is it? We saw the giraffe.
Well,
Wait,
we're gonna see.
the giraffe. We saw the lion,
There was
the
a cheetah
giraffe,
early in the
the
morning. We saw.
elephant. We saw a cheetah. Is he part of the big five?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's why I would really say.
We saw
Our guide said we did.
what is it, a buffalo? No, it's not a
Buffalo.
buffalo.
We
It's
saw
not
a
a
rhino.
buffalo.
Did
The
we see a
rhino, the
rhino? We did
rhino,
see the rhino out
rhino.
there.
We saw
We saw
the
giraffes. You
hyenas.
said that. The lions. We saw all of them.
I don't know the name of the big five, but we saw buku
We saw a
animals.
lot. The elephants. We saw all of them.
We saw buku animals. Buku. I got tired. I was like, okay.
Yeah, you and the kids were in the back
I fell
sleeping
asleep.
half the
We
afternoon.
we had to get up about 3 o'clock in the morning to go out there. And yeah, but we saw that cheetah kill the impala, and the guy told us that the impala is considered the McDonald's of the safari because they're everywhere. I guess and everybody eats it, right? Or every animal eats it. So we saw this cheetah kill an impala, and that was a bit traumatic, you know,
Mm.
traumatizing because he took this corpse up into a tree with him, and I was like, I don't know if I wanted to wake up and just see a slaughter early in the morning. I was kind of hoping for breakfast first, but so that's
So the
the
second way.
the second way is you can book an Airbnb experience for about $180, and it's called the
I don't know if we can say it. Is it Pillansburg?
I don't know the name of it. I
Pillansburg.
I
But it's
murder the names.
I know they're like, oh, y'all better study these names. Anyhow, it's a
Yeah.
guy that will pick you up if you're in Joburg. They'll pick you up early in the morning, probably like 4 o'clock in the morning, and drive to this Pillansburg. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it.
Don't worry about
It's
it.
about
We
a 2.5
apologize
hour
in
drive
advance.
from Joburg, and his fee includes like access to the park, lunch, snacks, access to his
Camera.
little like nice fancy camera with the big
Hmm.
zoom, and then he drops you off at the end of the day, and
It's a
he's an expert
12-hour
in and of
tour.
himself.
It's a
Yeah,
12-hour experience,
yeah.
right? And I think he has like 4.9 rating on Airbnb.
On
So
Airbnb experience.
so that is
I don't
dope.
think we went into Airbnb experiences though. That's
We're about
another
let's
way.
backtrack. So let's
Right.
backtrack. So that experience is for about the 2 hour. I mean the 12-hour Airbnb safari experience is about $180. So now you have 1550
Yes.
plus 200. is 1750, right?
Right.
This is rounded up. So about 1750, you have done safari, you have
You
eaten, you've gotten to Joburg,
have a place to
you
stay.
right, you have a place to stay, you've done a little tour or whatever have you, on the hop on, hop off. But there's one place that you haven't seen, and that's Soweto. And I know some people are like, you don't go to the township, but at the end of the day, Soweto was in Serafina. Am I right? Serafina? Was that the name of the place?
I think so.
Yeah. Soweto is known. And you can go to see Nelson Mandela's house, right? Uh, I don't want to mess up this young man's name because his picture is what kind of shamed the world into putting pressure on South Africa to end kind of apartheid, as well as teaching, I think, Afrikaans in school. I think his name was Hector Peterson. If I said his name wrong or used the wrong name, please correct me in the comments. But you get to see that square where
The
he was
memorial.
shot. Yeah, his memorial
Yeah.
where he was shot. They actually had to smuggle the pictures out of the country. So Soweto is important. Desmond Tutu is his he's in matter of fact, Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu, if I'm not mistaken, lived on the same street, or maybe not.
I
Was it the
don't know if
same
it was the
street?
same street.
Okay,
I
same
know they're
area.
both in Soweto, but
They're
I don't
both
know
from
if it's the
Soweto.
same.
All right. I thought the man said, this is one street in the world where they had two Nobel
It could
Prize winners.
have.
I thought he
My
said something like
memories
that.
doesn't serve me that well.
Well, okay.
That was 2019.
Yeah. Well, that Airbnb experience is only, I wrote it down, blah, 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 blah,
Did you?
$11. No, I'm sorry.
Oh no, not $11. That's too
No,
cheap.
no.
Did you write
It
it
was $25. That Airbnb experience, just to go to be taken on a Soweto tour, is about $25. So now we're about 1775, and I think you've hit some major things. You've hit boom. You hit the apartheid museum. Boom. You took a tour on the hop on, hop off. Bam. You've done a $180 safari.
down?
You've eaten. You've had what else? We've arrived in South Africa. You have a place to
You
stay.
have arrived.
Yeah. So if we just rounded it up to cover stuff that, miscellaneous stuff, for about $1,800, you can have a very, very decent trip to South Africa, to Johannesburg in particular. And this is, this number that I'm saying excludes like going to the mall and shopping,
Yeah.
that
Travel
type of,
insurance.
or
It's only
travel
like
insurance.
an
Yeah.
extra $100 maybe or something like that. It's not expensive.
Yeah, but for like the stuff, buying souvenirs or whatever
Yeah.
have you, that type of money. I mean, but just for the trip,
The essentials.
the essentials of the trip, you're looking at about 1,800 bucks, and that's usually how we do it. And for us, the price of the plane ticket is going to it's times four, right?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, the Airbnb price pretty much stays the same. Going to Woolworth stays the same. The price of food is a little, it is increased, right? Because we're paying for four. But there's also, like again, that's only if you're eating at Tasha's or eating at
Yeah.
these nicer restaurants. There are other places that you can eat that are much more affordable, even more affordable, right? To where you're not spending $20 or $30 per person. You may only spend $50 to $60 for a family of four,
Mm-hmm.
right? How's that math add up? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was thinking so.
If
But yeah,
that, you might even go less than that. I mean,
right.
that could still be pretty high.
hmm
Anyhow.
So that is how we managed to pull off, either taking our family of four, or you know so for one individual to go to South Africa, we're looking at about 18 to go to South Africa and experience Johannesburg. We're looking at about $1,800. Now, if you
Right.
want to fly out to Cape Town, obviously that's going to raise the price,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever have you. But just to get to Joburg and do some major things. Again, we're talking safari, we're talking tours, we're talking Soweto, food, malls,
Mm-hmm.
all of this good stuff for about $1,800 per person, right? And Go ahead. Well, it's not even
It's not even the
1800.
full 18 per
1800 per person.
person, you
Right.
know? Goes
Because
up incrementally. I mean, the biggest cost is going to be the
plane ticket.
plane tickets,
Mm,
but you know, the hotel doesn't necessarily go up.
right.
If it does, an extra $5 a night for a larger space or something. It's not
Something
even
like
that
that.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but in the food a little bit, so not even 18 a person.
so
You're just looking at one person.
if you added another $1,000, right? Because the plane ticket is 1,800, and you say that I mean the plane ticket is 800, well 900. So if you added
Mm-hmm.
another 1,000 to it for about 2,800 to 3,000. Let's just flatten out 3,000
For two.
for two.
Yeah.
About 3,000. You saw how I just I just threw them numbers together, but for about for about $3,000, you could probably have a party of two could have a great time in Johannesburg for about a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's relatively reasonable when you think of cruise ship prices,
Yeah.
and when you think of shoot, people go to Miami and spend $3,000 between two people, easy.
Easy.
Easy. Go to Vegas. People go to Vegas like I got a plane ticket to Vegas for $100, but you spent 2,000 in the casino and lost it.
And the accommodations are really expensive
And
in one of these
accommodations,
cities
right?
as well. So
Right. So for those who are like, this is how we pull it off. There is a way of traveling to Africa, to South Africa in particular, that
for the
is
same cost you would to Jamaica
to Jamaica.
or, you know,
Yep.
Cancun, Mexico.
Oh, you know the new thing is people going. They heard Jay Z rap about Turks and Caicos 10 years ago, and now we going to Turks and Caicos. Ain't nothing wrong with Turks. I
It
just
is a
shout out to
beautiful
Turks.
island.
It's beautiful, but that's where they go. Or
Yeah.
the Dominican Republic.
I don't
You,
know. I don't know if anything can rival that. That's cheap travel right
yeah,
there.
Dominican
They
Republic be
always have like the
like
best deals.
$60 round trip on Spirit.
It'll be like 2 week package, 500 all inclusive and drinks too. Like damn.
You remember people were dying from fake alcohol in Dominican Republic?
I do remember
No disrespect to
that.
Dominican
Whatever
Republic.
happened to that?
I don't know. I don't drink, so I don't know. I was like, that's not my concern. I don't drink alcohol. But yeah, Dominican and Spirit Airline. I don't know. Spirit is not in Africa, so Spirit
They
Airline
don't go
is
that
like
far. They don't go that far.
no
They don't
Spirit.
cross the
No,
Atlantic.
Spirit is the soul plane of American travel
And I fly Spirit.
with a good heart. Easy.
Got to Colombia on Spirit. I've had
You
some
can
great
Spirit.
deals on Spirit.
Spirit has what are
They
those
made our
little
European trip affordable. This that connection to
yeah,
Miami was
what are
like
those little buses in South those taxis? Just imagine the taxis in South Africa, those little vans with wings. that, that's Spirit. But I ride Spirit with a good heart. I don't care. It got us to Colombia. It did. It got us everywhere. So, man, once again, we didn't hit them up with 30 minutes, man. All right. So, thank you guys for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, I thank everyone that is listening and watching and leaving comments and liking and all of that good stuff. I've gotten a gang of invites. I got conversations coming up with people like Zoom calls and all kind of stuff. So I'm really feeling like we're building our network. I'm
nice.
excited,
Yeah.
and we'll be back in a day or two with another video, an interesting topic, I think. So I appreciate it. You guys have a good. Anything else, baby?
No, nothing else.
We were kind of lighthearted, not lighthearted, kind of light on energy because we just drove 5 hours to
Yeah.
Houston. You know, kind of
And
tired.
then ate Jollof.
Then ate Jollof and oxtails. Oh, and it was rolling
So
too. Lord have mercy.
ready to lay down.
Y'all have a good one.